What is good, guys and gals, and welcome to the Films and Pixels podcast, episode 29. I'm your host, Afif, and I know that it's a bit late, but anyways, happy belated New Year, happy late New Year, however you want to say it. So yeah, big occasion, the first episode of the year 2023, and hopefully we keep this going. This is going to be really fun and really exciting. So thank you for tuning in. If you haven't done so before, please subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. So again, like whatever you can do is always really good for me. Subscribe to this channel. Like I said, if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, please do so. Much appreciated. Like this video, like all the other videos. Engage in the comments section. That would be really great. Like and follow all of my social media pages. It's in the links are in the description section below, as well as all the audio streaming platforms that this podcast is available. Plenty, including Google Podcast, Anghami, Spotify, and more in the description section. So please feel free to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment as well. It's much appreciated. But yeah, regarding the topics for episode 29, I'm going to talk about Henry Cavill's next move. I mean, after no longer being Geralt of Rivia in Netflix The Witcher, and now he's out as Superman, what is next? Oh yeah, I want to also talk about some interesting news regarding IO Interactive's Hitman video game. Why I think their latest announcement is really great news. Plus, I want to give my thoughts on cable TV today in general in the golden age of streaming. And reviewing a couple of movies like Avatar, The Way of Water, and Glass Onion, directed by Ryan Johnson, starring Daniel Craig. That movie, exactly. And plus a surprising lawsuit that occurred between a YouTuber and Nintendo regarding copyright lawsuit. I'll talk about all of that for this episode. So yeah, hopefully you stick around. I'd really appreciate it. All that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get going. Alright, guys and gals. First topic for episode 29. I want to discuss recent events in late 2022 that have happened with Henry Cavill. So because he was supposed to be recommitted to his role as Superman again, he was recasted from his role as Geralt of Rivia from Netflix Witcher series, which he played the role of the main character of Geralt in the first 2 seasons, right? And there was already an official announcement that Liam Hemsworth will from now on take over the role. Good, right? Yeah. So he does come back as Superman again in a mid-credits scene cameo role in Black Adam. He does interact with Dwayne Johnson's character for less than a minute or just even a few seconds, and it generated a lot of buzz. Although not enough to make a lot of money for the film, it seemed like the box office run was at $329 million, which underwhelmed and really underperformed commercially. Critical reviews, as I mentioned before in a previous episode, were a bit mixed, to say the least. But yeah, after both of these recent turn of events, now he's out as a character. So he's no longer coming back as Superman going forward under the new leadership of DCU Studios' James Gunn and Peter Safran. Things have now changed drastically. This is on top of already starring in a Netflix film, actually, in Enola Holmes 2. So a lot has clearly happened. But just because things look dire at the moment doesn't mean all is bad. In fact, immediately there was an announcement that he's going to be an executive producer and star in a major role in the Warhammer 40,000 video game series, going to be adapted through Amazon Prime Video service. Now, that's pretty good. Now, regarding when will production start, release date, and all that good stuff, nothing yet has been announced. However, it does seem like he will partner with a friend of his, Natalie Viscuso, to bring the project to life. And he feels like he's ready to take on a bigger responsibility. He has worked in the film industry in many roles in many ways for 22 years of his career. We all know him as Superman, but he's taken other film roles since then. So he's more than ready and confident to do so. And that's pretty great. It's first steps for him to sort of be like a filmmaker, a creator, a writer as well, with someone he knows and trusts. And that's pretty good that it's coming to Amazon as well. Amazon Prime Video is already busy. I mean, I am super stoked and ecstatic that they've agreed to have God of War, at least from the Norse mythology era, to be on Prime Video, but that's a different topic for a different time. I'm really excited about that one. And there seems to be more video game adaptations going into streaming, whether it's Netflix or now with Sony's The Last of Us on HBO Max. We saw Halo on Paramount Plus. So more and more are coming to streaming services instead, and not cable, but I'll talk about cable in a bit. But I'm just really glad that, at least for him, things are going in the right direction for the time being. This is another topic I'm actually personally just very interested to really speak about. For many gamers out there who love stealth, third-person action, maybe slow-paced kind of games as well, which have really been a hit with many IPs like Metal Gear Solid, for example. I'm sure many of you are aware of recent news with Hitman, but if not, I'll mention it. Now, the developer IO Interactive, who in January 2021 published Hitman 3, have announced that they're going to rebrand their latest game into simply World of Assassination. So now called Hitman, World of Assassination, bringing the trilogy into one game. Now, what does that mean? All the main content from Hitman 1 and Hitman 2 will now be merged with Hitman 3 into one singular game. So, like they said in a blog, and I'll rephrase it once again, for Hitman 3 into Hitman, World of Assassinations. So now it's just simply going to be one game with 21 destinations. There are no longer going to be any sort of confusing purchasing decisions and redeeming access pass and which content to buy and so forth. But regarding extra DLC add-ons, I will explain further how the system goes. But I really like this, and they announced it in a blog post. So, now it's just going to be all in one, and that's just separate. Destinations, of course, coming back and merged, like Paris, Marrakesh, Colorado, Bangkok as well, Mumbai, Miami as well, Berlin, Dubai as one of them. So many locations seen throughout the World of Assassination trilogy going to be merged into one. So what does it mean Well, this is going to happen in these changes will go into effect starting January 26th. So if you haven't played Hitman 3 or you're going to buy it soon, or if you haven't done so yet, I mean, now is actually a pretty good time. In fact, throughout digital storefronts, especially on Sony's PSN store, there's a discount with Hitman 3, pretty significant, around $27 or something right now. So you can buy it, and if you want to wait until 26th of January just to have all three games and play them in one, you can. Now, what does that mean regarding the price tag when it's all brand new and changed? Now, World of Assassination game will cost $70. And while it's not exactly what we're all going to like, I mean, it's sort of the industry trend right now with new gen gaming consoles and a lot of the huge AAA games that are becoming expensive to make, releasing at $70 for brand new $500 consoles. It's not what we like, but I mean, we're accepting it whether we like it or not, and it's the norm as well. So for the deluxe pack, there's a deluxe pack. So what that means is that all the extra content released throughout the trilogy is now going to be sold into one. That'll include the extra 2 destinations from Hitman 2, like Haven Island, New York as well, the 2 sniper naps of Siberia, Hantu Port, as well as the 7 deadly sins, and also the 6 deluxe escalations plus contracts and challenges. Now that's going to be bundled into one deluxe pack instead of before trying to buy some of these and redeem it or whatever it may be. So deluxe pack includes like Hitman 3 Deluxe Pack, 7 Deadly Sins, and the expansion access pass. So that's it. That in itself will cost $30. So when you factor in the main game plus the deluxe pack, that's in total $100. That is a huge asking price. Now, at least the good thing is that now when you're trying to find and buy a new Hitman game online, there's no longer any weird confusion about what to purchase and so forth. It's now been simplified. And it's been a roller coaster journey. I mean, this is what they've been trying to do. They've envisioned their new Hitman games to be like one single player live service. And it all started like back in 2015 when they took the risky decision of releasing the Hitman 1 locations in episodic format and not all in like one game like you would see previously, you know? And it didn't help as the commercial sales really fell below Square Enix's expectations. Square Enix, in this case, they were the developers of the first game of the trilogy, and they did publish Absolution. So Absolution sold well, even though it really divided a lot of fans who are fans of who love the Hitman games in itself. And part of the reason for this format is that, like I said, they envisioned it as a live single service experience. So that was so. In some ways, it sort of paid off because it kind of like slowly introduced people more to the Hitman IP and so forth. But you know, that sort of episodic format, maybe it's good for like live interactive drama games such as like Life is Strange or other games made by Telltale and so forth. But it's cool that it gave players more of a sandbox environment and allowed them to have a playstyle that suited them, you know? Although initial sales did falter, but I mean, like by November 2017, 13 million players have owned and played the games. By November 2017, 7 million copies were sold and it got improved with 13 million players by May 2018. Hitman 2 development, this is where things kind of got more difficult. And Square Enix had to divest IO Interactive, and they tried to do them a favor by selling them to a different publisher that would help them financially back them with the development costs and give them a backing with Hitman 2 as well. But they couldn't, so both sides agreed to a management buyout, which allowed IO Interactive to have more control of their game. So this allowed them to be sole owners of the IP and have publishing rights. It did help that because of the limited cash flow, the studio had to lay off like half of its employees and had to reduce the scope of the sequel. How much, we don't know. But when you look at the final product of Hitman 2, it seemed that a lot of people really loved and enjoyed what they got and consider Hitman 2 from 2018 as one of the best games in the series and one of the best stealth games of the generation in itself. So maybe some things worked out. But I mean, there were like, I think at the time they had like 200 employees and they had to lay off 40% of their, 25% of their work. No, sorry, I keep mixing up the numbers. They had 400 employees and had to lay off 40% of their workforce. So it didn't help by the time the game itself was 25% complete. So there was some behind the scenes trouble regarding, you know, employment layoffs and budget costs for the game in itself. Now, how did things really help them? Well, they made the first episode of Hitman 1 like a free-to-play, and then it made more players significantly interested, and they bought the full game, which there was like a complete first full season game in itself. And it did help them bring like a steady revenue. So it did help like bring some more money, but because of the limited manpower, they had to limit the scale of the sequel and some planned features were cut. But then again, planned content and features, it's normal in the gaming industry that for one reason or another, it gets cut. And most of the time, the results do work out well anyway, so it's not exactly like a surprise. But it's a good thing that development did go quickly because the foundation that was laid in the Hitman 2016 game helped further build Hitman 2 game and really improve it instead of just going off rails and include features that for a game like that with like social stealth features similar to Assassin's Creed that just doesn't make sense. So it did help that immediately that because there's demand for it, it showed that there are more players interested in that kind of game. And they were able to partner with Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, sign a deal, and help them with publishing rights for the sequel. And it'll as well publish the definitive edition of Hitman 1. So everything from the first game, including extra missions bundled. So with that in mind, it still helped. But there had to be like cutbacks because of budget. Like cutscenes in Hitman 2, they used like still motion animation, meaning that they're like not everything like not in motion. Does that make sense? Not full movement. It's just still images and there's like voiceover dialogue. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. There was concern that because of a competitive release window that was around the release of Hitman 2, the publisher weren't exactly happy that it was sort of a slow start in terms of commercial sales. But they did recuperate a lot of the development cost quicker than Hitman 1 did. So eventually sales did really go well for IO Interactive for their Hitman 2 game. And it did get nominated for Game Franchise Adventure and Controlled Design 3D at the NAV GTR Awards. Now, thankfully, the development of Hitman 3 did improve as well. Animated cutscenes did make a return, and the game's story became darker and more mature than previously, and much darker as well. So it's interesting that there was more of an emphasis on plot throughout the level instead of before and after the missions. So yes, the plot of the first two games, you'll know it, it'll make sense, but there's a stronger direction in the third game as well, but without compromising the gameplay as well. I think what makes these games so popular is how you play them, how you want to conduct your missions, the choices you make, and so forth. It reminds me of the Dishonored games of how you either handle situations non-lethally or lethally as well. And like and the disguises you use and all that cool stuff, and sandbox environments and all these exotic locations and interacting with crowds. It's all pretty cool now that their vision is now coming together. It's just a shame that it took them a lot longer than usual, but I mean, this is what was going to happen. Will a fourth game of Hitman series be part of the world of assassination? It's hard to know, but I'm just glad that things will work out for them for the better, and I'm just excited to see how it all looks like. I mean, oddly, I actually have a copy of Hitman 3, although on Windows Epic Game Store that I claimed for free. So, pretty good timing, I mean. Although it looks like I have no reason to buy it unless I just want to play it on console, but since I have it on Windows, it's a good opportunity to download it and try it all at once. I know I'm kind of late, and it's been a long time coming, but I'm more than excited to talk about Avatar: The Way of Water, the sequel to 2009's first Avatar movie. That's a long time coming. I mean, wow. Not the longest gap between a sequel. I mean, that record was already broken by, Mary Poppins. Yeah, the name almost left my mind, but long time gap for Mary Poppins films. But I mean, for a highly anticipated movie like this, I mean, it was worth the wait. Now, to start, I mean, what I liked for this movie is once again, Sam Worthington's Jake Sully narrated the movie as well, throughout from beginning to actually in the beginning, and then he did at the end. But we are back to the world of Pandora with now that Jake, he has a family, married to Neytiri, played once again by Zoe Saldana, with 4 kids, 3 of their own and one of them adopted, and plus like they have this there's like this kid named Spider. He was supposed to go back to Earth but was left behind and now treated like a pet in a different planet, a non-Earth. He's supposedly like related to this colonel that Jake Sully has an enemy of. So the movie starts off with like a battle now that like war between Pandora and like the human soldiers again coming from Earth. Seems like Colonel Kortrich wants revenge on Jake for his own mistakes. And it's not bad, but it just seems like a simplistic thought, like a sort of revenge tale as well, you know, from someone who's an antagonist. I mean, it's fine and all. Plus, like, a lot of changes happened with Jake as well. Other than family, he becomes chief of his tribe and so forth. I'm just going to admit, while I did see the first film, I didn't go back and watch it recently or even see the remastered version. So I'm just kind of lost, but I'm just trying to remember a lot. Anyway, I mean, it's like really great. Like a lot of scenes, like James Cameron really wanted to innovate and like shoot a lot of the major scenes in the movie underwater. Hence probably why there's the title, The Way of Water, as well. And because of this war that's taking a toll on Jake and his family, they have to upend their lives and move their family to a secluded island with peaceful Navi, light blue looking people that have a way of living and interacting with the water and using sea creatures as their friends and traversal and so forth. So it's really great. Of course, like you can tell the visual effects still amazing. I mean, nothing really shocking there. It looks amazing. The colors are really great and so forth. I really liked it. The characters, they're all right. I'm fine with them. Of course, like Kate Winslet was one of the cast members, but I just felt wanting more with her character. But then again, it's fine. Not much was really expected from her. But Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana, great in this film. But I thought throughout, like it was mostly the kid's story. Honestly, I forgot their names. I'm sorry, but like regarding the kids, I felt like they had to grow and find themselves in an environment that really they just weren't expected to be in and upend their lives and just change. They had to go from a forest to living in the sea as well. But like throughout late second act to third act, like my pulse was pounding. I was like, I felt really concerned for their lives. I mean, this Cortich guy, like, he just won't stop just because, like, you know, his allies and whatever, like, he just felt betrayed and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, the mistakes or the choices made by Jake at the end of the first film, really, like, everyone around him are suffering the consequences. And this is where, like, I think by the third film, I think, like, he may not be very liked by his own wife. Like I'll talk about more on that, but throughout the movie itself, like while it's the longest since Avengers Endgame, like it was 3 hours long, so it was fine. But maybe a few scenes could have been cut, but it's okay. I mean, James Cameron had full control. No one from Disney or 20th Century Studios had any involvement. Did not interfere. Let him to have the movie he wanted, and financially did succeed, which I will talk about. But it seemed like the kids just having a hard time just interacting with these other characters, and in some ways, at least one of them found themselves in interesting ways interacting with the nature and having these visions. It's Kitty or Kiri, I think. Yeah, I think that's her name. Voiced by Sigourney Weaver. Yeah. I knew I recognized her voice. But because of everything that happened in the third act of the film, I just feel like Jake Sully, I mean, you know, I just feel like he's going to be like this unwanted, unliked character, especially by his own family and his wife. I mean, I won't spoil what happened, but I just feel like he'll be this character that's like, whose existence is like such a burden on everyone that, like, you know, all it's done is like it's caused problems, chaos, destruction, bloodshed, and so forth. So this is why I think like the third movie, which I'm sure will shift into fire as it's been teased by James Cameron, will be more interesting as well. You know, I just think like he'll get a lot of the blame. This is where I think like both of them with Jake Sully and Neytiri, I think it'll be really interesting to see how much of their relationship has shifted dramatically, and I think that's going to be the case of what happened to their family. Now, in terms of how well this movie has done, Thus far, it's made $1.752 billion worldwide, which is amazing. It's now been able to financially break even, already ensuring that the fourth and fifth films, which have been planned, are gonna happen for sure. James Cameron has envisioned this to be a major blockbuster franchise. He said before, if it failed commercially, then it's just a third film as a trilogy, and that's it. But now there's more than enough money for the fourth and fifth film to happen in the near future. And he was waiting for new technology to be developed necessary to capture scenes underwater, which has never been accomplished before. So a lot, I mean, the cast members really were tested, and a lot of the visual effects, a lot of work had to go into it. That's really great, you know. But the filming for this film started like late 2017 and concluded by September 2020. That is crazy. All of this film work even happened late at a time with the COVID-19 pandemic at its dangerously high peak. And to accomplish that is insane. Filming not just the second film, but also the third film in a span of 3 years. 2017, 2018, okay, 4 years, but I think 2017, 2018, 19, 20, but you get what I'm saying. And for the production, for the budget, was like one of the most expensive at an estimated range of $350 to $460 million. It became one of the most expensive films ever made, and thankfully throughout its box office run so far, it has more than made enough money. And so I'm just looking forward to see what's going to happen there. And will the fourth and fifth film be even more dramatic than whatever may happen in the third movie? I mean, that's going to be interesting. Also, I mentioned the Spider Kid earlier. I wonder, like, you know, with his choices, with his decisions and the relationship he built with Cortec, whatever his name is. I mean, I wonder if that will come. I wonder if, like, maybe his feelings will change because he's so close with Jake's family that, you know, getting to know him, who's supposedly his dad, you know, I wonder if that will play more into maybe having more feelings towards him. Played by Stephen Lang, by the way. I almost forgot to mention that part, but yeah, I mean, even if the movie comes next year or the year after, I mean, I'd like to see where this goes from here, and will Jake Sully survive this one? And we'll have another encounter as well. All right, so the second film that I want to review and react today is Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. This movie, of course, you may have already known, directed by Rian Johnson, who also directed Knives Out, I think from 2018 or 2019. That was an excellent film. So I thought it was an interesting surprise that a second one was already in development when announced. And yes, I am talking about the same Rian Johnson from Star Wars The Last Jedi. I like that movie. It's not an awful movie. Star Wars fan base needs to chill out on that movie. But with all that said and done, I want to focus on the here and now. Glass Onion, exclusively on Netflix and in select theaters worldwide. This is a really good one. And it was actually kind of fun too. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Now, of course, the main character coming back once again, Daniel Craig as Detective Benoit Blanc. So like before, he's the main guy. The focus is on him solving another case with a totally new cast of characters that includes Janelle Monáe, Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Jessica Henwick. I forgot who else, but a really excellent cast as well. Fun to watch, all distinct characters as well. I mean, just so good, really. I mean, even like filming in a secluded location in Greece, fun to watch, nice to see, and you know, fictionally took place like in the era of COVID, and then like like in the beginning, found a way to solve that with some sort of sanitize, like with some dose gun or whatever. But all that being said, I mean, so Daniel Craig coming back as Benoit Blanc, I mean, it's kind of funny when he keeps talking in this KFC accent or whatever. Like, once again, he sounds like Foghorn Leghorn from Looney Tunes.
Now what, I say, what's the big idea bashing me on the noggin with a rolling pin?
It's just kind of funny, but I find out I'm having a hard time taking him seriously when he talks like that. But yeah, the movie itself, like it sort of intrigues as it goes along, and more of the character backstories are shown, like how they built this sort of company or brand. With the main antagonist of the film supposedly Edward Norton's Miles Brown character. A lot of people think he's like a lot like Elon Musk, but I disagree. He is nothing like Elon Musk. I mean, I know that Elon Musk was not everyone's favorite person in 2022, but both of them, in terms of similarities, definitely no. I disagree with that. But still, it was a lot of fun to watch, and just really see like how they're different from each other and just know their flaws and so forth. Just see like how Daniel Craig, like once again as Benoit Blanc, just being intelligent enough to quickly solve the first murder, which was just as like a game, and then connecting the dots with the real murder that's happened. And of course, once again, this is sort of money motivated. I mean, of course, like anyone will do anything for millions of dollars, so that's not a surprise there. But what was kind of a surprise was just like how it ended. I mean, what started as like a fun vacation getaway for a game, then all of a sudden became a nightmare. But for a whodunit mystery film, it shouldn't really be a surprise as well. One character I want to talk about in particular, Kate Hudson as Birdie. Half the time she's like screaming and shouting or whatever. I mean, it was funny at first, and then like towards the end, it got kind of annoying. But I thought there was this interesting twist of Janelle Monáe. Like, she did a really great job in this film. She really shined a lot. Somehow playing double duty as two different characters, but like related. Both the characters being twin sisters and really pulling off double duty and using different accents, different voices. So really credit to her for all that work in the film. She's actually really talented and great. I think she does singing, but yeah, she's a great actress as well in this movie. Maybe not to the same height as the previous Knives Out film, but Glass Onion, still really fantastic. Still a must-watch film if you haven't seen it on Netflix already. I really do recommend it. If it's in theaters still, wherever you are, go watch it. It's definitely fun to watch. Honestly, The Glass Onion at the moment is better than any of the films right now in cinemas. I know that Babylon is coming, Bones and All is coming soon, but I just think Glass Onion is really worth your time and better than spending your money at a movie that's really like not worth it anyway. It's just, but it's the right idea. Like if you're in the mood for a good movie, something that's interesting, intriguing, and really like gives you some moments of plot twists, Glass Onion is one of them. All right, final topic. This is a gaming lawsuit related situation between a well-known YouTube channel versus Nintendo. And we do know Nintendo at this point. I mean, they're very protective when it comes to copyright material, and they usually don't like it without permission that someone shares a lot of material from Nintendo without their consent, and especially they're very stingy even when it comes to games that are being emulated on PC. So that's understandable, and it's their right. And they have a team of lawyers making sure that anything that anyone's doing with their material that's not financially benefiting them, they're on top of it. So it's really fine, And the latest problem comes from a video gaming history channel called Did You Know Gaming. They posted like a 20-minute documentary video on a unpublished game that never came out on the Nintendo 3DS. Nintendo DS, not 3DS or 2DS, just on Nintendo DS, called Heroes of Hyrule, sort of like the Zelda spin-off. So the video was on YouTube for like 90 days before DYKG received a copyright warning and had to remove it from public on December 28th. Now the saga doesn't end from there. Now the channel operator, Shane Gill, who's in charge of the Did You Know Gaming channel on YouTube, did have to say this about the copyright strike that accused him of using unauthorized material. He said this on Twitter. Because Nintendo's claim was that we were using unauthorized material just by us acquiring it legally and presenting it in accordance with fair use. Their intent was to scrub this piece of journalistic work from the internet because they did not like what it uncovered. Yeah. So clearly a lot of the details and information that DYKG presented on YouTube did not sit well with Nintendo and were not happy with the material presented publicly. Now one can assume that maybe it had to do with a 22-page document that they obtained from former Retro employees that supposedly were trying to work on the game. So, I mean, I don't think it was any information that were obtained from former employees of Retro Studios were illegal or, did not fulfill any contract obligations or so forth. But yeah, I mean, like Shane Gill did say, like, Nintendo tried scrubbing the video because of what he found, and Nintendo didn't like it. But how, in Nintendo's defense, I mean, the content is like close to 90% of like copyrighted material that probably should or should not be online, so that's fine. And a lot of the text that supposedly like did not sit well with them, but any terms of copyright policy, which I know how it works, if you're able to file a counter complaint about how this is legally used material that's been used and gained permission from copyright owners, it does come back online, and I think it is on the internet. A lost Zelda game for Nintendo DS, Heroes of Hyrule. In fact, it is online if you can still catch it. But like gives 10 days just to see if it's acceptable or not, and then so forth. But yeah, even though Shane Gill never did get any money from Nintendo, it doesn't mean he's clear of the situation. So there was like a lawsuit that took place regarding the content and the limitations of the copyright claims of so forth. So I'm assuming the saga won't go away anytime soon. But yeah, like this, it seemed like this game was supposed to be developed by a former developer of Metroid Prime, Retro Studios. It's been pitched in 2004, same year the DS hardware came out. It's supposed to be like a strategy game, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics or whatever. And clearly the development didn't really go well, and the idea was rejected. So, project got scraped and just canceled, and of course everyone moved on. The Zelda IP is already a good place, especially since Breath of the Wild and Hyrule Warriors, and 2023 will be really big with Tears of the Kingdom coming out sometime in May of this year for the Switch. Everyone's going to be excited about Zelda and everything Nintendo. I mean, the Switch is in a really healthy place with 118 million units sold. So, I mean, regarding the Switch, it's fine. I don't want to go off topic. I know I am, but regarding this lawsuit, I mean, look, it's understandable. I mean, Nintendo have the right to protect their material, copyright material, and games that being sold in black market or whatever, fake copies, emulated copies, and so forth. It's all right when any of the IP that's theirs that someone's using it to make money off of, but Nintendo is not getting money off of it. It's fine, you know. It's just weird how, um, you know, Nintendo supposedly like gave someone printed documents of a supposed game that was planned to come out but did not come out, and when video was presented in a fair use on YouTube, then Nintendo didn't like what was said or what's been seen, and the filed the copyright complaint. It's a bit of a weird situation, almost like they kind of contradict themselves, but you know no one wins anyway, just because like Nintendo or actually no wait, Shane Gill won the lawsuit. Yeah, they're like, I found this headline on TechSpot. YouTuber fought back against Nintendo DMCA notice and won. So it's good, at least for once, someone won in a lawsuit against a big gaming company. But that doesn't mean like anyone can walk away being victorious. Especially in a way. It just means that. Sorry, it just means that all the good working relationship built throughout time now is just scattered completely. At least the video is back online if you want to watch it, but I mean now it's just tarnished with a lot of problems. You get what I mean? Alright guys and gals, that pretty much wraps it up for episode 29 of the Films and Pixels podcast. If you have watched from beginning to end, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate the time you have given. It means a lot. Like I said in the beginning, like, comment, subscribe to all the content from this channel. Liking and following all the social pages that I have in the description section really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And even if you're the few people I know who keep on track of the content I have available, it means a lot. I know I haven't done so every day or every week. I'm just trying to balance my time and my schedule, just trying to do a good job with time management. But whenever I can, I do and will make the effort. So thank you. It means a lot. And, from wherever you are, thank you so much. Good day and good night.